MJF leaves Double or Nothing early and his future is uncertain. Plus, former WWE and Ring of Honor stars have made their AEW debuts. And how did AEW pay homage to an ECW legend at Double or Nothing? It's all in the wrestling news right now. MJF was the talking point of Double or Nothing. We are going to talk about Double or Nothing. Now, if you haven't seen it yet, shot across your bow, bit spoilerific.
There's going to be some spoilers in here.
So if you don't want it ruined, then you might want to pop back later. Stay safe, love you, bye, etc. Curly whirly.
Curly whirlies indeed.
Exactly. Now, MJF said on Twitter the following. MJF claimed to us at Fightful he showed up shortly before his match, left right after, and has had a lot to think about. I haven't been able to verify this with other people at the show, or if this was planned, approved, or suggested by AEW. Now, on the Fightful post-show, Sean Ross Sapp said, as this started, this was 100% not a work. They had a conversation a few months ago. It was water under the bridge. Things were okay briefly, and then they just weren't. I had other talent in the company say yesterday, I believe he's trying to leave town. And the other thing, before we get into like the match and sort of how
that happened,
told a
how
story,
it went down. He said
Tony Khan was immediately in the press conference, like we waited right till the end of the media conference.
It's what time? 7 whatever o'clock in the morning. We've been watching the media scrum, and he does his little spiel at the end. It's just him.
Yeah.
And what was the first thing he said?
So he said, somebody popped up and said, all right, the first thing we want to ask you is about MJF. And he went, right, I'm not going to comment on MJF. And then moved on to talk about everything else. Yep. So what a weird situation. Now, you watched Double or Nothing.
I did watch Double or Nothing.
You've watched the match in particular.
If you want to call it a match, yeah. It was MJF, they really played up the whole, is he going to be there, is he not going to be there? They played his music. There was no one coming out the tunnel for what felt like an eternity. He did eventually come out, and he did not look happy to be there. The match was essentially a squash match. We had Wardlow hit copious amounts of power bombs.
Was it 10 in the end?
I think it was 10. He was counting along with the crowd, and the crowd were loving it. But yes, it was powerbomb after powerbomb after powerbomb. He put his foot on him to pin him. He removed it and got him back up for more powerbombs. It really didn't clarify the situation any further on what's going on with MJF. But he was there, thankfully. He did get stretchered out at the end with a lovely oxygen mask getting put over his eyes.
Because that's the main source of oxygen.
That is where you put your oxygen. But apparently he did, as Sean Ross Sapp report, he did leave straight after. But it's not been verified by anyone else.
This writes MJF off of AEW television, I guess, until... if whatever issue, if there is another one, again, to quote, as I did yesterday, the song's just Rihanna, work, 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 work. It's hard to tell at this point, but at the point, according to Sean Ross Sapp, he arrived before his match, he left shortly afterwards, and there's a storyline that gets him away from telly for quite a while. Moving on to other aspects of Double or Nothing, a couple of debutants.
I had quite a few. It was actually, I mean, it's been a thing that at AEW's pay-per-views, we see some people make their debuts. We get the All Elite graphics. Now, there was mainly 3 ones we're going to talk about. The first being a former Ring of Honor star. We saw Andrade in a backstage segment. It was pre-recorded as he's been off celebrating his wedding. But he's talking away, and he introduces former Ring of Honor World Champion Rush. Very excited for that one because it's his former Los Igranob. I can't say it.
You can do it.
It's too early, Tom. You take that one.
His former faction friend
in CMLL. But yeah, we have the big LIJ fist bump. I guess not LIJ, just the original LI.
Yeah.
But that was not all, as at the end of the TBS Championship match, we had the debut of Stokely Hathaway, formerly WWE's Malcolm Bivens. Not only that, we also had Athena, who is also formerly known as Ember Moon. So we had 2 big debuts there. It was all in the same segment. It appeared Hathaway came down, providing a distraction for Jade Cargill to allow her to pin Anna Jay to retain her TBS championship. And then
great story from the media scrum about this. So Jade Cargill over the moon, like, you know, he's one of the best talkers in wrestling, you know. Then Tony Khan says that Stokely Hathaway's 90 days was up yesterday.
Yes.
So it was like the day before Double or Nothing, it was up.
Yeah.
So he only actually met Stokely the day of the show.
Signed his contract. He got his All Elite graphics, so he's an official member of the roster, and he couldn't have signed him to a contract before that point.
No, you couldn't have even engaged in sort of discourse until that 90 day was up. Obviously, there would have been like little conversations between a go-between, no doubt.
My friend has a friend who might want to join the company.
Yeah,
at some
I know someone who
point
fancies you.
Which is really exciting. I can't wait to see what he does with Cargill. He's one of those talents. I think we mentioned on the news a while ago that he was one of the guys that when it was released, it was like, really? He's got so much potential and so much to offer. So I can't wait to see what he does here. Same with Athena. What a talent, what a pickup, a really, really strong hand that will help that women's division. I can't see.
I've got to give the props to Cowboy Andrew, who in 9 pitches predicted that Athena would be involved in the TBS title match.
What a shout by Andrew there.
Of all the things that could have come to real life from the pitches, I'm livid that it's not Bruce Hart trying to win both of the Owen Hart Cup tournaments.
Maybe next year. There's always next year.
Next year to save me from tears. A few other notes from the AEW media scrum. So Tony Khan just point blank refusing to talk about the MJF stuff, but he apologized if the fans at home were fatigued after the long show. He said the crowd in the arena were hotter than any previous pay-per-view. Domestically, it was the most successful Double or Nothing ever, but he was aware that it was a long show based on the basketball game that it was running alongside.
So yeah, there was Game 7 of the NBA. It was the Boston Celtics versus the Miami Heat. It was a big game, and Tony Khan didn't want to clash. And they definitely didn't clash. It was a long show. A good show, but a long show.
Great bit in the scrum where CM Punk was out first. And he was talking, he was asked about Bischoff's comments about him being the biggest financial flop in wrestling, to which Tony Khan, like a good friend, jumped in and went, "That's effing B1."
Yeah, there's some words we cannot say.
And Tony just came to life, got really animated talking about how every Punk pay-per-view has been a record-setting pay-per-view. He got very animated talking about how AEW won the Friday Night War.
He did, yeah,
because of CM Punk.
Too much.
It didn't. At one point, he barely blinked at all. It was terrifying. He was, very animated in that bit. I think you would have seen clips at that point of CM Punk just kind of going, "All right, mate.
He's like,
it's fine."
Oh wow, I've got my biggest fan next to me.
Yeah, that's what Drinker wanted.
It's cool to see him so passionate about the product, though. Like, it's nice to see him being like, no, I'm going to defend the guy that's sitting right next to me, who's our new world champion. Like, of course you're going to defend him.
He was very animated. He said, Tony said that he and Punk became close during the pandemic. He said, nobody has done more for the company than CM Punk has since his arrival. He said, this ain't any Hollywood bullshine. He works every single week. And then Chris Jericho was in the media scrum as well. And this was really lovely. So Chris Jericho talked about the Anarchy in the Arena match. Lots of discussion on like how Jericho's able to sort of adapt and recreate himself on the constant. But then he talked about the Anarchy in the Arena match and said that there was the element of that with the music playing over the top. That was an homage to ECW legend New Jack.
Indeed,
and Jericho said exactly that. It was done as a tribute.
It was an absolute tribute to him. It was I really enjoyed that match. It was one of the most fun things that I've seen in professional wrestling in a while, and that element that is a tribute to New Jack with the music constantly playing. It was me and Jack were just sitting watching it, counting.
Old Jack.
Old Jack. Young Jack? Child Jack?
Not as young as he used to be.
We're just trying to count how many times it replayed. It was really satisfying, really fun element to it. So the fact that it's done as a tribute to New Jack, it's lovely.
Even down to like Jericho smashing the soundboard, complaining about that rock and roll music.
And how amped in a very, Anarchy in the Arena match. It was anarchy. It was chaos, and you should go and watch it.
You can check out what happened at AEW Double or Nothing with Jack on the channel as well. And tomorrow you will have AEWTF moments with Ross from Double or Nothing 2022. And a little bit more news throughout the day. big props to this young gentleman here who
I'm very excited for
stayed up through the night to do your live. So if you're watching on Twitter, covering us on Twitter, it was Fraser on that all night long. I'm a job's worth. I literally turned up about an hour ago, which is why I said, do you want to lead the news or do you want me to lead it? And you're like,
and I went into the corner and cried.
So I said, tell you what, we'll roll through it. So give lots of love to Fraser Porter on Twitter today.
I'm off to get a McDonald's.
You should go to bed.
No. Sleep.
No.
No.
Did you want a McDonald's?
I wanted a McDonald's. I'm going to go for a McDonald's.
Aiden asked me if I wanted one. I didn't realise you wanted one.
Maybe next time.
Terrible now. Anyway, more news throughout the day at cultaholic.com. Stay safe.
See you later.
Love you, bye.